You're all hugely welcome here on this crisp day for the presentation of the 2021 Irish Forest and Woodlands Awards. My name is Owen Lewis, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the Royal Dublin Society. The RDS is delighted to be able to welcome so many of you here today to celebrate the very best of Irish forestry. Increased carbon sequestration through effective forestry management is recognised as one of the most effective tools available in tackling climate change and in promoting sustainable agriculture. These awards today recognise those who are setting the standard for others to follow in this regard. What today's awardees have been able to achieve is an inspiration to all involved in the future development of Irish agriculture. Awards like today's are important for the future development of the forestry sector. We need to highlight what the farmers and foresters here with us today have been able to accomplish on their farms and in their communities, so that others can better understand what is required for the sustainable economic, environmental and social development of Irish agriculture.
I would like to congratulate firstly all involved, both the organisers and the participants in this event, which has really become a showcase for best practice in forestry over the years, rewarding excellence in forest management and biodiversity. I am also fully committed to the future of forestry in Ireland. It is, as we all know, important for our society. It's important for our rural economies. It's important for our natural environment when we get it right, and it's also important in our fight against climate change. It's simply the case that forest and woodland creation must be central to our land-based climate and biodiversity solutions in the future. Ireland's Climate Action Plan 2021 has reconfirmed our ambitions for the establishment of at least 8,000 hectares of new forests per year. Ireland's forests provide a significant contribution to climate change mitigation and remove large amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. They are also significant stores of carbon. My department's National Forestry Inventory records indicate that over 312 million tonnes of carbon is currently stored in our forests, in the soils and in the trees themselves. This is a significant carbon store, and it is important that we maintain and expand our forest area into the future. We need to get the message out loud and clear that forestry is good for business, it's good for communities, and it's good for the environment. My department and the RDS have enjoyed a close association down through the years, and I want to emphasise just how important the RDS Awards process is. The awards have a potential to have a far-reaching impact on the future shape of forestry in Ireland.
It has been my privilege, along with the other two judges, Tony Mannion and Jim Reedy, over here on my left, to adjudicate on this year's Forest and Woodland Awards. We were hugely impressed by the quality of the entries, not only in terms of the forest and how they are being managed, but also the enthusiasm and the commitment of the owners. Deciding on the winners was a difficult task, especially when there were so many exceptional entries. Our first category award is Community Woodlands, and this category is designed to encourage and reward projects involving community woodlands and forests, which have been established and managed in a sustainable fashion and in a manner beneficial to the landscape, local people, biodiversity, and the economy. The runner-up in this category is Kylemore Abbey Estate. Kylemore Abbey Estate is a non-profit organisation committed to sustainability and conscious of its social responsibility to the promotion of good woodlands and stewardships. Since the estate was established in the 1860s, it has been an exemplar of good agricultural and silvicultural practices. Now managed by Kylemore Trust, led by the Benedictine nuns of Kylemore Abbey, the Benedictine values of hospitality, stewardship, and community living are given expression in Kylemore's Community and Schools programme, which has seen over 400 children from local schools and creches plant over 100 trees as part of Kylemore's Community Woodland since 2012. This programme's main elements are a scheme of clearing invasive rhododendron ponticum, followed by native tree planting. This work is integrated into an ongoing outreach programme with local schools and the wider community. This has built a strong sense of community engagement between Kylemore Woodlands and local children, families and schools, as well as a range of stakeholders. Kylemore Abbey is situated in an estate of around 1,000 acres, and approximately 75% of the estate is under afforestation. The highly scenic landscape around Kylemore Abbey is defined by mountains, lakes, bogs and heath, cultivated lands, woodlands and formal landscape gardens. The woods of the Kylemore estate contain both native and introduced species such as Irish yew, alder, hazel, rowan, holly, sycamore and silver birch amongst others, and these are interspersed with a series of walks around the lakes. In recent years, Kylemore has engaged in an extensive programme of tree planting with the long-term goal of replanting the original woods of Kylemore, from which the estate gets its name, Cuilche Moor. Finally, a visit to Kylemore can't go without looking in on the wall garden, which at any time of the year is a joy to the heart. The winner of the Community Woodlands Award is Tintern Forest Property, County Wexford. Tintern Forest is a sustainably managed mixed woodland which nestles into the South Wexford countryside just off the Hook Peninsula and beside Bannow Bay. The property wraps around the historic Tintern Abbey, which is managed by OPW and is a separate entity. Over the last number of years, Cuilche has become involved with the local community on a number of initiatives, such as installing walking paths and the restoration of the historic wall garden to its former glory. Tintern Forest hosted over 40,000 visitors in 2019 and has proved to be a significant addition to the Tintern Abbey experience. The great work by Cuilche, Tintern Trails and Hook Rural Tourism, amongst others, in developing this community resource has benefited the local economy, with many local cafes and suppliers benefiting from the increased visitor numbers. The judges were hugely impressed with the initiatives and outreach relating to mental health for both residential and daycare patients within the communities. The leading of walks on a weekly basis, the installing of mindfulness space, as well as innovative kniping treatment for physical and mental health. For those of you who don't know about kniping was introduced in the 1860s by Father Sebastian Kneipp, who was a German man who believed in the therapeutic qualities of bathing water. And this is what they have installed here for physical and mental health. A recent initiative has been the construction of an outdoor amphitheatre in an old quarry, which can seat up to 70 people. This has been a fantastic addition to the area, providing a unique community facility where local artists can perform. Tintern Forest Property is managed as a biodiversity area where forest activity, such as harvesting, is kept to a minimum. It is planned that the whole area will be managed under continuous cover forestry, and it is governed by leases which are held by the local community and signed up to by Cuilche. Tintern Forest Property is a great example of a large corporate body working in harmony with the local community for the betterment of all. The next category is the Production Forestry Awards. The Production Forestry category is open to farmers and landowners showing innovation and silvicultural excellence in their management, production and sustainability. It's within the judges' remit to award a special commendation, which is not a first prize or a second prize, but it's in recognition of the good work undertaken by applicants. So the Special Commemoration Award in the Production Forestry category goes to Jonathan Sykes from County Limerick. Best practice at Springfield House, where Jonathan lives, has resulted in excellent stands of oak and sycamore, and thinnings are being used as a source of firewood to heat Springfield Castle, which provides guest accommodation. In fact, 90% of the heating is provided by the woodlands around the property. Jonathan manages the broadleaf forest in Springfield under a continuous cover system. As the trees are thinned and pruned, new seedlings are encouraged to replace and renew the forest. The best trees are favoured for sawmill logs and are used for furniture and construction, locking up the carbon they sequester from the atmosphere naturally. The broadleaf forest is also a delightful amenity for guests at Springfield Castle, with excellent pathways throughout the grounds. Runner-up in the Production Forest category is Patrick J. O'Reilly from County Cavan. First planted in 2003, Patrick's forest is over 19 hectares, comprising a variety of species, including Sitka spruce and Norway spruce, along with a large percentage of alder and oak. This woodland is an excellent example of how different species can be managed in a way that incorporates both commercial and environmental benefits. Such a woodland could not have been developed without great passion and dedication, and Patrick should also be commended for the work he does to help educate and inspire others about the benefits and potential of forestry. As you walk through his woodland, the hand, care and dedication of Patrick is visible everywhere, from the carefully shaped oak and the broadleaves to the pruned conifers and the well laid out access paths. He is to be commended for all the work he has undertaken over the years. Patrick regularly welcomes students from the nearby Ballyhaise College to his woodland, highlighting how he and his wife Anne have been able to develop commercially productive forestry in a way that also complements and conserves the local environment. The winner of the production forestry category is Colm Foy from County Longford. Colm's forest comprises a total of 36 hectares, made up of around 29.5 hectares planted in 95 and about 6.5 hectares planted in 2012. The area was originally in dairying and later beef before being planted. The soils are mostly mineral and fertile, and this is reflected in the high productivity of the woodland. Species planted include Sitka spruce, Norway spruce, ash and birch. Much of the Sitka spruce has been thinned in a highly satisfactory way, and the judges were impressed by the efficient manner in which the thinning was executed and the present condition of the crop after thinning. Also by the extent to which Colm is adapting a business-like approach to forestry and the manner in which he has enabled other woodland owners to benefit from his experience. At the home farm where Colm grew up, Ballymedleevy, is very dear to his heart. He has also managed to grow his forestry business through continuous investment while working with nature to ensure the long-term environmental sustainability of the area. Colm is an innovator and has adapted machinery to work in the forest, including hydraulic shears for felling of thinnings and whole tree harvesting, and a small-scale tractor-based forwarder for extraction of thinnings. He plans further investment in chipping to allow him to add value to his early thinnings. Colm's ambition for the future of Ballymedleevy is to create a species-diverse, multi-age woodland that is managed on a continuous cover system that will be capable of providing a financial return from the sale of products ranging from biomass to sawlogs, with the least possible impact on the surrounding local and global environment. Colm also aims to utilise local markets for his products as much as possible to help minimise his carbon footprint and reduce road miles. Ballymedleevy Wood, which includes a pond in the centre of the site, has developed into a haven for wildlife over the years, and there are moorhens on the pond all year round, along with various other pond species. Red squirrel and pine marten have also been spotted throughout the woods, and Colm notes that the wood is a great place to work, relax and enjoy nature. The Teagasc Farm-Forestry Award recognises working farmers who are integrating forestry and farming for environmental, social and economic benefits. This category acknowledges the farmer's role in actively managing the forest and promoting tree planting to strengthen and wider farming sustainability. The runner-up in the Teagasc Farm-Forestry Award is James Ham from County Westmeath, Moyvore, County Westmeath. James has a 52-hectare farm, of which about half is committed to forestry. The farm is managed on a low input basis for a 20-cow autumn calving suckler herd with some spring barley grown to provide feed grain and straw. James has always had an interest in trees and hedges and has practiced hedge laying on the farm as a form of agroforestry, biodiversity and providing fuel for his whole home. He first planted around 2 acres, mainly oak, in 1995, before further mixed species plantations in 95 and 2014. By planting land that was difficult for grazing, James was able to manage the remaining land for his livestock enterprise more efficiently, noting less time and expense spent on drainage and land maintenance. The farm is now managed on a much more sustainable manner. James has not been afraid to plant minor species and has replaced failures with species such as Cryptomeria japonica, that's Japanese cedar, and western red cedar, both highly prized species for their timber qualities. Over time, the replacement and underplanting with a wide range of species will result, James believes, in a climate-robust and resilient woodland, providing the full range of benefits, economic, social and environmental on a continual and sustained basis. From the outset, James has managed the farm on continuous cover forestry principles with a strong emphasis on wildlife and biodiversity, as well as commercial product. James has noticed a visible increase in the levels of wildlife on his farm, with buzzards, blackcap, grasshopper, warbler, pine marten, and a much greater number of butterfly species. James notes the conversion of land to forestry in 2014 benefited his farm enterprise as he was able to reduce livestock numbers, which he and his wife had identified as an increasingly unsustainable main source of income as they got older. Their ability to manage forestry plus reduce livestock numbers has led them to a better quality of life with no reduction in the overall viability of their farm holding. The winner of the Farm-Forestry Award is Owen Cooney from Virginia, County Cavan. Comprising 35 hectares, Owen's farm was primarily a dairy holding of up to 70 dairy cows, but fragmentation into 4 different blocks rendered it difficult to operate in later years. Owen first planted areas of his farm 30 years ago under a pre-cap scheme that was operated by Western Forestry Co-op at the time. This initial 3-hectare conifer plantation on an out farm demonstrated to Owen the many benefits that forestry can bring to a farm holding. This small site yielded on Clearfell an impressive volume of timber and convinced Owen to plant further areas of marginal land on the farm. Owen notes how he grew to appreciate forestry and how it enhanced the visual and diversity aspects on the farm. He began to adopt a mixed model approach to forestry over the years, and subsequent plantings contained a mixture of native and naturalised species such as alder, oak, red oak, hybrid larch, beech, alongside conifers. When the small plots and awkward areas of his farm are added up together, close to 30% of Owen's farm is now under forestry. Since planting, Owen has been able to implement a more efficient management plan on his farm, which has led to an increased output per hectare. While overall farm output has reduced, this reduction is more than compensated for by the annual premiums that forestry brings in. Owen notes that with the improved fencing that accompanied forestry, livestock management became a much easier task. More recently, Owen has planted a 2-hectare block under the agroforestry scheme, and this has merged well with the farm's overall management, with silage cutting and slurry application carried out without any hindrance. Management activities since planting have varied from grass cleaning, replanting lost plants in younger plots, to access and inspection paths in older blocks. Recently, Owen has had to undertake replanting significant areas of a young plantation that suffered severe late spring frost. A 1-hectare plot of ash that showed symptoms of cholera at year 4 had to be removed. This was later planted with Sitka spruce along with some broadleaves. Currently, he's improving access and pruning the broadleaves in an older block. Owen is an excellent example of how forestry can integrate with mainstream agriculture. Adding forestry to his farm has allowed Owen to continue to farm in a viable manner, but with the added advantage of providing income, diversity and landscape improvements.
Teagasc is delighted to be associated with the RDS Forest and Woodland Awards through our sponsorship of the Farm-Forestry Award category. The award recognises farmer foresters like Owen and James as exemplars in achieving the sustainable integration of their forests and farms. Inspired by Owen and James, the previous winners, we hope that the principles that underpin the Teagasc Farm-Forestry Award will help farming families and the communities in which they live to build resilience in these challenging times by realising the many economic, environmental, practical and social benefits that will accrue from farms and forests working together.
It's been, I think, a very special occasion, a great afternoon, and I think the winners that have been recognised today are a real inspiration. I'd like to thank all of those who applied for the awards and wish you the best of luck with future applications. Hopefully, next year it will be your turn to be recognised. And with that, I conclude the formalities of the 2021 RDS Irish Forest and Woodlands Awards and wish you all an enjoyable and pleasant lunch. Thank you all very much.